It's time for MacBreak Weekly, episode 237. Andy's here. So is Alex, Lindsay, the whole crew, including Don McAllister from Screencasts Online. And we are going to talk about the iPad 2. Will you get in line to buy one? Should you get in line to buy one? All that and more coming up next on MacBreak Weekly.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust. This is Twit.
Bandwidth for MacBreak Weekly is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is MacBreak Weekly, episode 237, recorded March 8th, 2011. Who's a good dog? MacBreak Weekly is brought to you by PDF Pen and PDF Pen Pro. Go paperless and easily edit and sign PDFs with the affordable PDF Pen toolkits from Smile Software. For a free demo, go to smilesoftware.com/MacBreak. And by Squarespace.com, the fast and easy way to publish a high-quality website or blog. For a free 14-day trial, go to squarespace.com/MacBreak. And by GoToMeeting. Picture yourself on a phone call, sharing and explaining something visual with GoToMeeting. For your free 30-day trial, visit gotomeeting.com/MacBreak. It's time for MacBreak Weekly, the show that covers the latest news from Cupertino. And there is much news from Cupertino, but let me introduce the panel first before we get started on all that stuff. Starting with Mr. Alex Lindsay of the Pixel Corps, back from his travels. Yay, Alex!
It's good to be back.
Pixelcorps.com for that multimedia guild of artists. Pixelcorps.tv for all the shows you guys do. And you're building a neat studio in kind of part of the Twit Studios.
Yep. It's
yours is coming along a lot faster than ours is.
Ours is much simpler than yours. And so we're having a green screen stage, motion capture studio, and then probably a little physical studio with little.
So awesome.
It's going to be. It's purely geek. There's no shininess to it.
Can I lease our side out to somebody and just come and use your side? Oh man! Oh man!
Yeah.
Oh,
so
man.
what? I mean, Kelly from All in One Truck built the site.
Cove is already done.
The Cove's done. We're getting ready to paint it.
Cove is the curved, seamless kind of background that you need for a green screen because you can't have any corners.
Yeah, so
it looks beautiful. How does he do that? Does he soak the wood to make it bend?
We should ask him how he does it.
I'd love to.
I don't know. I wasn't even there. I was like traveling. I came back and it was done.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
it looks like a skate ramp.
Yeah. Oh, and it's really thick. A lot of those can be really thin.
Oh, really? Oh, that's good.
He said you could skateboard on it. Not that I'm going to, because that would ruin the paint job.
No, please don't. You haven't painted it yet. Still chance. There's still time.
Maybe we should do it before we...
Also with us, Don McAllister, back from his sojourn, his trip around the Cape of Horn.
Indeed. Hello, Leo. Nice to be back again.
Good to see you, Don. Don and his wife Barbara were on the MacMania 11 that we went down to South America, Patagonia.
Yes, I've got some incriminating video footage of a certain disco.
Oh no! Oh no! I'll have to explain. I was just imitating the penguins we saw. Oh dear.
Never
so
mind.
do the
It's
penguins
all right.
also bad too, see, it's that deal. Is that your story?
That's Andy Ihnatko from the Chicago Sun-Times, back from his trip out here last week. Thank you for your help on the coverage of the iPad 2 announcement.
Well, thank you for underwriting my travel expenses. Yeah. Again, it's always good when two interlocking needs.
I'm glad you could be here for that. I do apologize for last week's MacBreak Weekly. We had hoped to do an actual show after the intro, and unfortunately, for technical reasons, we couldn't. So we just released our coverage of the product intro, which covered it, but it took a longer time for us to say the salient features.
Right.
And then Andy joined us on This Week in Google so that we could at least get his expertise. Do you have an iPad 2 yet, Andy?
Hey, let me introduce you to Sparky.
Here we go
the distraction dog. Hey, Sparky. How you doing? Oh, he's a little shy, but he's very distracting from questions that I really don't want to answer.
It's interesting because I haven't even been able to pre-order. By now, we would usually be able to pre-order. Is that Don? Are they putting them on sale Friday in the UK? No.
No. We've got another 2 weeks to wait. Don't go on sale to other. It's only the US. That's the 11th, so it's the 25th of March, I think, for the UK and other major territories.
Now, Boy Genius Report did say, and I have to check, that we would get iOS 4.3 by now. It's not out, is it? They were wrong.
I haven't seen it. No,
they were wrong.
Probably by Thursday.
Well, they were saying 10 a.m. this morning. We record on Tuesday, I should say. This is March 8th for those of you listening after the fact. Now, Boy Genius Report is saying tomorrow. But we know Apple said at least by Friday. Friday is 5 p.m. is when the iPad 2 is available in any form. So far, some people have said, the manager at the Apple Store said, I'm sure you'll be able to reserve one, but we haven't even seen the ability to do that yet.
Yeah, it looks like they're doing the whole... The line is good for PR. I feel like that's the reason we're not getting the pre-order.
Well, and that kind of bugs me. That's throwing your consumers to the lions. You disagree, Andy?
I disagree. I mean, if they were going to do that gambit, they wouldn't have pre-ordered the first iPad. I don't.
Well, then why would they not pre-order this iPad?
For a million reasons that we can't even conjecture.
Oh,
I'm saying that I would not assume that because there's no pre-orders, there's any sort of scheme going on. As I've heard from so many different companies, as big as Apple, and sometimes people, including Apple, they say, I really wish that the company that I know and that I work for were as clever as to do something as big and smart as the conspiracy that you're suggesting that we're capable of. Because
can you come up with a reason other than just to build lines? Because you could put a pre-order. You could say ship it as soon as it's ready. You could. I mean, there's no reason you wouldn't put that on the store. It strikes me that what they're doing is they're trying to trump up excitement and get people in line at 5 p.m. In fact, 5 p.m. even implies that.
Think of it this way: what specifically does Apple gain by having pre-orders a week early?
Oh,
it's good for consumers, so that I don't have to.
What's it good for Apple?
Yeah, we saw what happened with Verizon though when the iPhone came out for Verizon, and there were no lines. And tons of people pre-ordered it, and
that strikes me as that might have been
because the thing is,
do you not realize that the iPad has close to 88% of its target market? That is the hugest consumer phenomenon in the past 3 or 4 years. Do you think that Apple's particularly worried that there are only a few people lined up outside a mall Apple store?
Yeah, but how much better for Apple if right before the local news goes, you've got a long line? Really?
I think you're overestimating the value of that. Really, they care about selling 10 million in the first 3 months, and if they can do, or the first 6 months or whatever target that is. I don't think that they're so concerned about. There should be video of really long lines. They're going to get as much press as they want about it.
Actually, it's interesting. Gene Munster at Gartner says there won't be lines because it is available at AT&T, Verizon, Apple stores, Target, and Walmart all at the same time. So that I mean, if that's the case, if that's the case, then that it is true. I mean, if Apple does that, then that is an anti-line move, So,
yeah, but they did that with AT&T. But the big thing is
there will be lines.
Most people
there are going to be lines starting at 4 a.m. on Friday.
There's already lines. Is there a line now? Some dude has already got.
There's always some dude. That's not some dude doth not a line.
Yeah, make. You need 2 suckers to get a line. Yeah. So otherwise it's just loitering, right?
Right.
So anyway, the problem is that I think it does do a lot for Apple because nobody lines up for any other phone or any other device. We don't see these lines for.
It's not like
else.
Apple doesn't want. Apple's so successful that they don't want additional positive publicity.
Yeah, because it
does hurt them. I think it hurts. See, you made a distinction, Andy, between what's good for Apple and good for consumers. But I think what's good for Apple is what's good for their customers. Don't you think? In the long run.
Yes, but you have to see. Here's what I'm thinking in response to all this: that what does Apple gain by having pre-orders ready a week before? And helping customers is also a good thing, but specifically, what do they gain from it? Not specifically anything. So I don't believe that.
And then why did they do it all this time? This is the first time they haven't done that.
I'm saying that I don't know the reason why, and that I would have if you're going to put like 5 or 6 different theories in front of me. The theory that they want the video of all kinds of long lines in front of the Apple stores on Friday, I don't think that that's something that they would particularly care about. Again, they know that people are going to hear about this iPad. Whether realize that the lead paragraph in my piece last week for the Sun Times was absolutely true. I sat down in my hotel lobby to write my like on the spot piece for the Sun Times about the iPad 2. I took out my iPad, and within like 5 seconds, an electrician from the hotel walked past, saw my iPad, and said, "quote I guess you're going to have to buy yourself a new one of those. The new one's coming out on March 11th." And this was like 2 hours after the event, and random people IQ person was aware of it. So I don't think that they need that kind of a stunt. Samsung needed to sell out. And if
right.
I would believe that they would manufacture only like 50,000 of them just to make sure they could say, oh my God, we sold out. We did not anticipate the demand. Holy cats. But I don't think that Apple has that.
I think that the kind of the middle road of all of this is I think that there may be a constrained supply of the iPad 2s. And so what you don't want to do is commit all of those iPad 2s to pre-order because they would sell them all
at the store.
So then there wouldn't be anything available for the stores.
That makes sense.
If you did it, I think that's probably like the middle. Like you want to make sure that you're going to, because if you sell out the first week and the first day, and everyone orders them the first day, you can say, well, it's going to be 2 weeks before you get it because.
But that's going to happen, right?
But
no
what you don't want is everyone pre-ordering and feeling like they got gypped because it didn't show up the day of.
Right.
So I think that my guess is that they're not clear that they can supply.
So next week we will sit here, and if they're all sold out, if like you can't get one for love or money, then I think that would probably confirm what you're saying.
Which would also
but if
be
next week we're sitting here and you can walk into an Apple store and get one, it's like
right.
The problem is as well is with the staggered launch dates as well, because you've got the international customers who are sort of expecting 2 weeks later. I know when the first iPad came out that there was, they pushed the date back. They couldn't fulfill all the orders for the international customers, so they actually pushed the date back, and that caused a lot of bad feeling. But I mean, Apple always like to sort of reinforce the message, don't you? Though they always like to push a bit further. So they had this great launch and they got lots of press. I do think there is an element of them wanting to have lines on. I'm almost sure on Friday they do want lines. They definitely couldn't care less. I don't think they don't care less. They definitely want lines. They want the free PR, and you can't buy the PR that they get when they have all these.
And let's say it's not bad to get somebody in an Apple store. They might buy some other crap.
Well, can I put it this way? I'm sure that like the president, the president's staff wants beautiful, cloud-free, piercingly blue, beautiful skies for when he stands outside and gives a stirring 4th of July address. Would he be willing, like China did, to spend 2 weeks sending airplanes dousing the sky with all kinds of chemicals to clear it up to make sure that would happen?
Right.
I think there's a distinction there.
Good. I hope you're right, Andy, because I would hate to think that Apple would do something for PR that disadvantages its customer.
I think if I was going to lay odds, I'd say it's because they have a constrained supply.
Yeah,
that would make sense.
I would say that too. That's conjecture, but of all the theories that could be put forward, that's the one that I would believe. They would say, well, why take a risk? We don't get an advantage by pre-selling. Let's just make absolutely sure that everybody who shows up at the Apple store the first weekend who wants an iPad can get one.
So if you really care about iPad 2, you will get your ass down to an Apple store.
You see how Apple manipulates us now. Now they've got us saying rush out on Friday. Don't wait till Saturday. Rush out on Friday.
Wait.
You better get in line if you want one, don't you think?
Are you getting in line?
I can't. I'm on a plane.
Oh my God!
I could go to. I don't know. I still haven't found out if the Apple store in Austin is going to stay open because I get in Austin at 10 p.m. that night. We're on a plane at 5 p.m.
We don't know yet if they're open.
They won't tell us. They won't tell us. So we have this is more Apple does like secrecy an awful lot. They won't tell us if they're going to stay open. So I don't know what to do. Right. I guess I just won't have an iPad 2 for a few days.
I'll get it for you.
Well, I'll be in line.
Where? Are you coming to the States just to get one?
Well, if you remember last time when the first iPad came out, it was a happy coincidence that I was over there with the family. And this time I'm going to come over just to get an iPad.
You're kidding. You're flying to New York City. You're going to go to the Fifth Avenue store?
Yeah.
Oh, that's Don, you rock.
I'm going to do it in a couple of days. It's only a short trip. I'm going to leave on the Thursday, fly out on the Thursday, pick it up on the Friday,
that's
hopefully.
Awesome. Get in line. Get in early enough to get in line.
Pardon?
Get in line. There will be a line. I'm guaranteeing there'll be a line.
There will definitely be a line. I don't know. I'm going to be there first thing in the morning just to mooch around. I'm seeing some friends while I'm over there as well, and I'll do some sort of reporting and tweeting and taking some video and stuff and put it all together. But,
so we don't know, Eileen. They haven't told us either whether you could buy one or more, and Eileen's going to be there.
Yeah.
So she's going to try to get one for us. People are saying, well, why do you need one so fast? Well, so we can review because unlike Andy, we don't get them ahead of time.
It's our job.
iPad today on the weekend.
We're recording iPad today that
It's
the
our
next
job.
day.
That's what I told Carlita.
Well,
it's our job.
It is my job. I mean, it literally is my job.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing it as well. It's I eat and breathe this stuff. I do video tutorials on it. 2 weeks delay. It might be even longer if they do push back the international launch again. I
need to do it. No, you got to do it.
Yeah, it's not just. I'm not just going off on a whim. There is a definite. And I'm also buying two. Actually, I'm going to give again, like I did with the first iPad when that came out. I'm giving one as a prize to Screencast Online members.
Nice.
So, and I believe there's just a limit of 2 per people. So one for me and one as a prize.
And here's the guy in line. So I don't see him in the tent, but he's got a good position for his tent.
I'm surprised that they're letting him just put a
tent.
Out.
Letting him. Gee, please, whatever you do, don't put a tent in front of our store implying that there might be a demand for the iPad 2. Oh, no, wait a minute. Andy says they don't need to do that. No need. We'll sell plenty of them without that. We don't need to resort to.
Okay, you're right and I'm wrong. Apple is in real trouble here. They're not going to sell many of these at all.
No, they're going to sell out however many they've got. They could have 15 million in stock, and they will sell them out. It's pretty obvious.
I understand they're getting an endorsement from Jerry Lewis. That's how important it is to get those celebrity endorsements in.
What I think is crazy is just how much of the repeat.
By the way, everybody has the same freaking picture of the same freaking tent with the same. Here's Leander Connie. The first iPad 2 lines are forming. It's 110.
Yeah.
Justin Wagner. This is in Dallas. MacCast reader has taken this picture. He's the first person in line. He's also apparently the only person in line. And he has a website.
Oddly enough.
I wonder if he used Squarespace. Look at this. This is his website. He's got the launch. Come to iJustinOfficial.com. Oh, please. It's like the Paris Hilton of iPad launches.
You're an iOS whore. You're a filthy iOS whore. We see right through you, you garbage.
D-Stu99 in our chat room says, that's not a line, that's a squatter. So, okay, let's play the game. Predictions, first weekend sales. Look, they sold 1 million Verizon iPhones in the first weekend. They're going to have to sell, 5 million in the first weekend?
3 to 5 million.
They'll sell everyone they've got, right?
Oh, yeah, all of them.
How many they have is really what we're asking.
Yeah, I'd say 3 million.
3 million? Don?
Yeah, it's going to be down to what they've got. I think they'll be able to sell what they've got, to be honest. So yeah.
I agree with you. It's so we don't know what the supply is, but I think they will. You're right. Absolutely sell out.
That makes it really complicated when Galaxy says that we've sold 2 million Galaxies in the first 4 months or whatever.
Right.
That's the.
Don't get me started on the smooth sell through. So Alex, Andy, what do you predict?
I have no idea. Remember, it took them a month to sell 1 million of the first iPads. I can't even guess.
But that's what, and I think that's what we got from Steve's talk last week, is that they didn't know how the first iPad was going to be received. They know now that they can do no wrong, that the competition can't compete.
Yep. Well, it gets into that whole price thing as well. The price versus all of
the price is right.
It's
But don't people really go in and end up buying the 3G and they kind of say, well, as long as I'm getting 16 gigs, I might as well get
someone asked me, like, how much? It's $500, right? And I said, like, they looked at mine. I was like, well, I pretty much just buy the $867 version. I think that's the one that's got the 64 gigs and you go in thinking you're going to go in cheap, but then you're like, well, I have to have this for at least a year.
9 months in my case. I think people will be more educated now, though, because we understand the use case, we understand where we're going to use it, and so we've got the experience now of using it for that length of time. So I think probably people will be more be able to give more advice to people when people do ask them what sort of iPad should they have now, because we've used it for such a long time. So I think people have a clearer idea this time around of what they need.
I guess my thing is I use my 3G all the time. My iPad's always full.
There is a question mark now because the new iOS 4.3 has tethering. So if you have an iPhone, which I presume most people who buy iPads have an iPhone, you may not need the 3G.
You saw the fine print on that, right?
What?
If you sign up for tethering, they are going to take away your
unlimited.
Unlimited
bastards. They killed Kenny.
Yeah. There it is. Anytime they give you something that looks like it's too good to be true from AT&T, it is.
But they have promised that if we don't do that we will be grandpapa'd in on our unlimited 5 gigabyte
for the iPad.
It's unlimited 5 gigabytes, or is it unlimited? I'm sorry, I always ask this question because I never understand.
I don't know whether it's unlimited 5 gigabytes or unlimited.
I don't know. It's so.
And now we have to read the user agreements from 2 different carriers instead of one.
No.
Damn it.
We'll talk some more about the iPad 2 because I'd like to get your general thoughts about it. We're starting to see, I don't know. Macworld UK put up benchmarks and pulled them down. I guess that they were premature.
Oops.
But they were somewhat disappointing. There's some thought that maybe that isn't an A9 dual core, that it might be an A8 dual core. We'll talk about that. And if the iPad 2 is enough for you iPad 1 owners to upgrade, or should we just stick with what we got? And what about the camera? Does anybody know? Does anybody know?
Such a good ball.
Does anybody know? Who might know the actual resolution, the native resolution of that camera? Does any Bueller? All right, let's.
he's pulling. I've got the little squeezy roll. Come on. Okay, you got it. Okay, go get it. Distract. You're such a great distraction.
Hey, how many people remember Smile on my Mac? Yeah, great company. Now they're called SmileSoftware.com. We love them. I use Text Expander, saves my life every single day. They have a product that I really love called PDF Pen. Now, I've recommended in the past. Remember, I recommended an open source program that was kind of okay that allowed you to edit PDFs. Whoa, this is so much better. They have PDF Pen and PDF Pen Pro. If you go to SmileSoftware/MacBreak, you can get a free demo. So if we all live these days, we wish we could live these days without fax machines. And one solution, of course, is to use PDFs. And I have to admit, I've been opening PDFs in Photoshop, pasting in responses, signatures, printing, and then printing as a PDF just to get this stuff in here. Or maybe you spend the money on the expensive Adobe stuff that lets you edit the PDF. We've got some inexpensive software.
Well, this gets in that hole that you got to sign stuff. I mean, that's the big.
You still have to do it.
You
have to do it.
And most people now, at least they'll take back a PDF as the final product,
right? As
long as it's bound into there. But you need to do it, and that's the number one reason I use.
Well, wait till your kids get a little older because you start filling out a lot of forms too. You know, you got the medical form, you got the, the parent question. And I fill out a lot of PDFs. Fortunately, people do use PDFs now a lot. And my fax software will send it to me as a PDF, which makes it much easier.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So this is about 1/10 the cost of Adobe's product. It's called PDF Pen. They call it the Affordable PDF Toolkit from Smile Software. It allows you to edit your PDFs, make changes without going back to the original, go paperless. You can OCR it to get the characters out of it, which is really great. You can add text, images, and signatures. In fact, they have a library, which is really nice. So I have my signature, the stuff. I have Jennifer's signature, my initials, her initials.
How's the security work on that? Is there like a login that you need?
Well, no, it's not stored online. It's on my computer.
Right.
Yeah. So of course, I have a login. I don't let people use my computer.
No, I didn't. I was just asking if there was a login for PDF.
That's a good question. I haven't tried that, but I suppose there is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's stored within you have a personal library within the application.
It's within your application. It's not online.
Right.
Yeah. So I actually did all the video tutorials for PDF.
Oh, did you?
As well, I did. So if you go to the website, you'll hear my dulcet tones, and it's a great product. It's one of those products that the first time you see it, I think people think of a PDF and they don't realize that there is like a text layer within PDFs. That's the whole OCR thing. You can actually search by things, but they don't realize you can actually go in and edit the text. And it's to quote one of Steve's recent phrases, it's pretty magical. You can
and revolutionary.
Open it, and you can actually replace an image within a PDF.
Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't done that yet.
You can click on the text and actually edit the text, and so it's not just sort of writing on the PDF. There's tons of stuff in there that you can do. There's also things like you can put redacted. You can search a whole PDF. If you're doing legal stuff and you want to redact a particular name or a sentence or something, you can actually put that in. It'll search through and redact it, blank it out for the whole document, and do all sorts of things like that. It's really, really clever.
So if you go to the website, which is smilesoftware.com/PDF Pen, Actually, smilesoftware.com/MacBreak. Do that. So that way we get credit. MacBreak. You'll see Don's. I didn't, you know what, Don? People are probably saying, oh, you had Don on because you knew you were going to be I did not know. I swear to God, I did not know that you had done these.
That's right. No, I did them,
and so, but they were smart to get you to do them because nobody does better.
Look at different ways of opening PDF files in PDF Pen.
Nobody does a better job of these screencasts than Don. So find out all it can do. There's two versions. There's PDF Pen, and then that's $59.95, and then the PDF Pen Pro, which is $99.95, will let you create interactive forms yourself, as well as convert websites to multi-page PDFs, and the hyperlinks are preserved, which is fantastic. So I take it, Don, you agree this is a good product?
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic product.
That's
very,
awesome.
very good. Very, very good.
You can see why Don's
It will by default open in Preview. Preview is the default
He's just
application for PDF
he's just so
on the Mac.
comforting.
If I wanted to open it in PDF Pen, what I could do, well, I could obviously go into PDF Pen and do a file open, or I can right-click,
Look at this.
say Open With,
Love this.
and then select
In fact, I
PDF
changed
Pen.
all my PDFs to just open in
drop-down
PDF
list.
Pen. I don't want Preview anymore. I love PDF Pen.
Now, to change the default association...
Oh, so he's going to show you how to
PDFs
do that. There you go.
PDF Pen rather than Preview.
I don't see myself at the minute. Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah. I was showing you because I thought you were talking. I'm very confused. I'm easily confused.
If I change this to...
So give it a try.
PDF Pen,
Smile Software.
see
We
I
love
have
them.
both PDF
Jean's
Pen
been
and
here on the show many times. She's really a stalwart in the Mac community. She was at our party after Macworld. I just love that whole company. And I'm really thrilled to have them as an advertiser. Just continuing in my strategy of only advertising stuff I really, really like. Just wish I liked more stuff, I guess. About this time, I was wishing I liked more stuff. Smilesoftware.com/MacBreak. Please use MacBreak so that we get credit for it. Lately, it has come to my attention that some of you use other coupon codes, not other companies' coupon codes, but like something like Twit or something, and then we don't get credit for it. So please use MacBreak. Smile Software.
You know, those guys at Twit.
Those guys make too much money at Twit.
Exactly.
We don't need to support them.
Yeah, exactly.
Let the world know who you're loyal to. Smilesoftware.com/MacBreak, and we thank you so much, Smile Software, for being a part of the MacBreak family and helping to pay for that studio. I think we just paid for a soffit. One light now paid for. Only 33,000 more. I don't know how many lights we're going to have on this sucker.
Lots. Billions and billions.
Well, we're buying, I think, well, we'll see. I want to buy 20 cameras. I was planning on buying 20 cameras till I saw the other budget.
Right.
Well, the idea is I don't, want to, it's cheaper to buy another camera than to buy a camera to pay for a camera operator. Always cheaper to have another camera, right? Cameras are cheap compared to a camera operator.
What kind of cameras are you going to get?
Cheap. Did I say cheap? Have I said cheap enough times?
Yes.
Very cheap. They're getting cheaper all the time. We might use flip cams for the whole studio.
I have 8 little camcorders in my house office. You know,
I
that
think
I use.
we're going to use a Canon camcorder. I'd love to hear your recommendation. A prosumer.
Yeah, they're really
They're fine.
They're really nifty, and Canon just came out with the X10, X10, and then the.
I mean, I'd love to have
VX.
EX1s everywhere, but that's $7,000 each. I can't do that.
No, I don't think you need to. I think at this point,
That's
for a lot of this stuff, I've been doing a lot of research in this area. So
I would love you and me, baby. We're going to talk.
Yeah,
We'll talk.
yeah, exactly.
So I don't know if was it Macworld UK that accidentally leaked out these benchmark results. I think their headline did the iPad 2 an injustice. It said it's not that fast. It's not twice as fast, at least in the JavaScript rendering, but it's 1.5 times faster. That's a lot faster.
It's got cameras.
There's cameras. Well, we're going to talk about the cameras in a second. Is it fast enough to make you abandon your iPad 1? I guess that's the question. What do you think, Don McAllister? You're buying one, but we should stipulate we're all buying them because it's our job.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, the proof of the pudding, really, you've got to use it, really. I mean, all the people that I've heard, I know Andy's actually used one, so he can comment on this, but everyone I've heard have said it does feel actually faster to use. It's a lot snappier. I don't think, I mean, I've never had a problem with my current iPad and its performance.
It seems fast enough, yeah.
Yeah, now and again, a page might take a slightly longer than I want to load, when it does the multitasking, but really not. It's fine. I think the thing with the faster processors, it will give developers more scope to build better and more complex applications.
Well, certainly a faster GPU is going to make a big difference in what developers do, right?
I think one of the things that we'll notice is the difference between something like iMovie on on either iPad. I bet you iMovie is going to take full advantage. iMovie and GarageBand are going to be two that are taking full advantage of those processors, and I bet you will feel a big difference between the iPad 2 and the iPad 1.
Well, and you couldn't do photo booth on the iPad 1 because you need 9 live video screens. And I think that's really ironically, the thing that's going to use that GPU.
Well, and
at least initially.
You'd also need a camera.
Oh, yeah, that.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Andy, you have played with it in the demo room.
I have definitely played with one, yes.
You could admit to that much. Did it feel snappier?
I would say so, but realize that you're comparing my iPad 3G that I use every single day and have a million things on against what is the equivalent of an iPad fresh out of the box with barely no software on it. Yeah. So just using, but I will say that just using Photo Booth on it and just seeing 9 live video streams, not only just like tiling 9 different live video streams, but also doing a different effect on each one of them. Some of them pretty complex like warp and wipe effects, and it's all updating in real time, and there's not a trace of flickering in about it. I'm pretty optimistic about what this processor can do, but realize that most people are not. It's not as though the people who were holding off up to now were waiting for a faster processor. No. They're waiting for cameras. It's just that this is the 2011 one. Those of you who have been sort of thinking about it for the year will probably decide, you know what, this is the year I get myself an iPad. And if you already have one, you'll have to decide whether the couple of extra features are going to be worth it. Obviously, the one real big, there are only 2 real features. Well, let's call it 2.5. There are only 2 real new hardware features: the camera and the gyroscope. I cannot wait to see what developers do when they decide to do augmented reality apps that take advantage of not only the front-facing camera, the rear-facing camera, but also the gyroscope. Because if you hold this in front of you and you see live video, that really is, I'm holding an empty picture frame, and my perceptions are being changed as I go. So I think there's definitely going to be a market for the people who waited, and there's going to be a different sort of reaction amongst the people who already have one and are pretty happy with what they have.
Does the iPhone have a gyroscope?
Yes, it does. It's the same one as on the iPhone 4.
So it's the same as that. Okay.
Yeah. And those of you who haven't tried the difference, it is the difference between, you can do a shooting game with the iPhone 4 in which the phone can actually tell the difference between this and this.
Right.
So you can actually really just line up those crosshairs exactly where you want them to go, as opposed to just based with the accelerometer. It's like having a 4-position joystick where it knows that, okay, he wants to move left, he wants to move right. The gyroscope says, no, he has rotated the screen exactly 1.3 degrees of yaw, so that's how I'm going to update things. Again, the first time someone does a really good augmented reality app on the iPad 2, that's going to be the time in which a lot of people will go from, the iPad 2 is just a stupid toy, and I don't understand why anybody's stupid enough to buy one. And then they'll see somebody, with an iPad 2, using this app and said, okay, and can that augmented reality app show me where the nearest Apple store is by any chance? Okay, there it is.
We've seen augmented reality on phones. The Yelp application has Monocle. So the idea is it needs a camera and a gyroscope. Well, it doesn't. I guess it doesn't have to have a gyroscope. It's a lot better with a gyroscope. Certainly a compass it would need. And the idea is you're looking at a picture of what the phone is seeing. You're looking through the phone, and then it superimposes on top of the image. Yelp, at least, will say, here's where stores are. But you could have it pointed at a church, and it will say, here's the history of the church, pointed at a, there's...
Or something as simple as you're walking directions to this place you're trying to get to, and it will simply paint the street saying, this way, dummy. See that? If you can follow the green, you're good.
Does this mean a whole new generation of people walking around with their iPad in front of them like this?
They do that anyway.
I guess they do.
Yeah.
Augmented reality hasn't really taken off on phones, but maybe it's because it's too small. I imagine having this and holding this up.
It's a little jagged too. I mean, using only those things. I think the last little bit that they need to do, and there's a lot of white papers on doing this. In visual effects, we do this all the time. Is doing what's called a feature track. It can be done in real time at this point. And with these faster processors, I think we're going to get to a point where. So what you do is when we do what we call
feature track.
Yeah. So what it would be the last step to a lot of the software, which is that. Right now, we know where we think it's pointed. We're looking at its GPS information and its gyroscope and the accelerometer and all those other things. If you then have the camera, now that you have a camera, and you have it feedback and you have a fast enough processor to process it, what you can do is look at all the little features, little details, little corners and everything else, and you can actually track it. And then what that allows you to do is lock all those. That's how we track things into 3D, like into scenes. And you would be able to then really have, so all those little signs wouldn't float around. You know, like when you're using augmented right now, when you're moving it,
right?
Not
it's
like,
weird.
It's kind of weird.
They're
not. Yeah. So the thing is that with a feature track, it would allow it to actually
see the store and say, oh, there it is.
Well, it would mostly mean that you would never, like if it stuck it somewhere, it would really never look like it was sliding over the background. You know, and that's what some of these faster processes are kind of going to open up when someone starts writing to them.
Right.
You know, because right now it was probably a little too much horsepower to do it with the last version. This version and maybe the next version would be enough to start.
I can't wait to see also. So that's going to be a great feature, and I can't wait to see also what people do with the cameras. I mean, the camera app on the camera apps on the iPhone are just mind-boggling, and but my concern, and Andy, I know you can't respond to this, but my concern is that they're putting the iPod Touch camera in there instead of the iPhone 4 camera in there. They haven't said anything about the specs.
I think that the front-facing camera, I thought was
that's
HD.
VGA. They've said that
the front.
No, they say it's 720p, but you know they say that about the iPod Touch, and it's not. It's 920 by 720, or 960 by 720, and so it could be the iPod Touch camera in there.
Right. Right.
Which would make it, I mean, if it were the iPhone 4 camera in there, I would be jumping up and down. I mean, that's a pretty decent camera.
Right.
But isn't it, as you said before, Leo, that most people who've got an iPad 2, or who will get an iPad 2, will likely have an iPhone 4. So you're more likely to whip out your phone and actually take some video with your phone than you would with the iPad. I mean, in some respects, we sort of knew there was going to be cameras on the iPad 2, but I know there was a school of thought that thought, well, possibly they might only give us the the forward-facing camera so we can do FaceTime. Do we really need the rear-facing camera? And again, as Andy said, I'm pretty sure it's going to be for augmented reality. That's the main driver for this, rather than actually taking movies. Seeing iMovie on there was a bit of a surprise as well, because that would sort of give you the idea, well, no, they are trying to position it as a movie capture device and editing device. But again, when we see Lion and some of this new technology that they're talking about transferring files seamlessly between different devices, I can well imagine, in 12 or 18 months, or even when the iPhone 5 comes out, to be able to transfer video from your iPhone directly to your iPad and then edit it on your iPad. Right. That would be
the thing, though, is that when we shoot on a lot of professional cameras, having a monitor about the size of the iPad is pretty common. Well, it's pretty common.
Yeah.
Like we almost always have that. The idea of being able to see that, for a studio, like when I saw this with the screenplay out, I was like, you could put the front-facing camera and you could make these things like your studio, like
it'd be cool.
A weird studio camera.
Well, we'll probably use these for teleprompters. I mean, there's a lot of applications for a 10-inch screen.
Well, but we use a lot of them. We attach them. So having that larger screen makes a big difference when you're shooting. It is a little odd to think of it as shooting, but I think when we're thinking about it using our little handy cams, it seems big.
Right.
From someone who shoots a lot with these cameras. I mean, we have screens this big almost all the time because you can't tell.
It's very 1998 to think that a camera on a device implies just taking snapshots. If the only thing that these cameras are
1998.
Okay, well, enjoy your hammer pants, Leo. No, I'm just saying that if the cameras are good enough to do augmented reality and video chat, and also take good enough video that you can take do onboard video, a little bit of onboard video and assimilate all the videos that you've been taking on your family vacation, edit an iMovie, that's good enough. It doesn't necessarily need to be a 5-megapixel camera with built-in HDR.
I was kind of surprised that the front-facing camera was not HD, given that they just finished promoting
in the
FaceTime HD. It seemed like that was
all the new MacBooks have these much higher resolution cameras in there.
It seemed like an odd omission.
Well, but it's expensive.
But they're keeping the price down.
It's got to keep the price down, which is why you don't have a Retina display. It's why you don't have a USB port. I actually think that maybe one of the most interesting things, and I hope that this works. Again, all of this stuff we just don't know till we get one. Is the HDMI out in mirror mode? We could finally show.
I'm curious what the resolution is coming out of that.
Yeah, Don, you must be flipping your lid because that would give you the chance to do better screencasts.
Yeah, well, I've actually got a solution now with an iPad 1, but
you have to jailbreak it, right? And use DemoGod or something like that.
Which is a real pain, the jailbreak, because you're always one step behind.
It looks kind of crappy.
Sorry?
Doesn't it look kind of crappy?
It's actually the current release of the capture is pretty good. You can get some pretty good stuff out.
What resolution do you get?
Yeah, I get a full screen resolution.
Okay, we should try it again because we tried it when we first started doing iPad Today. We thought, oh, this will be good for iPad Today. Although the other reason we stopped is that it's weird to see the iPad operating without a finger.
Yeah.
Like you can't quite figure out what people are touching. And what Steve does, he has that little dot.
When I did the screen capture, all I had to do was painstakingly animate little dots on the screen as to where it was touching, and that took me ages to do. Okay. But the latest versions of the applications actually have a built-in, which is one of the things I'm hoping that someone will either develop for the iPad 2 or it will be included. It will automatically sense where your finger is and actually blip on the screen so you can actually see where you're touching the screen.
Oh, I should try, I should try this.
Yeah, and that works pretty well as long as you sort of firmly press and hold for a second and lift off. But yeah, the new one should be fantastic. But the problem is the capture of the HDMI in that particular resolution. I don't think every device is going to be able to capture it properly. It'd be okay for presentations, but from my perspective of recording it to video, it might be slightly different. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, of course, they said 1080p, but that would only be for 1080p content. The screen resolution itself is only 1024 by 768, so mirrored wouldn't be 1080p.
Well, and also I feel like there's probably there's going to be some limitations to the resolution related to copyright stuff, so that, to make sure that you're not pumping video,
right?
That is, like copywritten video at full resolution out of the HDMI would be a.
I don't know. Isn't the whole point of HDMI that it is essentially a secure method of cabling? The whole reason
not necessarily HDCP has to be implemented, but it has to be implemented all along the chain. I bet you, Steve, after his Bag of Hurt statement about Blu-ray, it sounds like he doesn't want to implement HDCP on the. You'd have to implement it on the iPad and on the receiving device.
Well, that was the whole reason why you couldn't the movie app couldn't use the VGA out.
Right.
Rather, if you purchased content from the iTunes store, that it couldn't play that purchased content through the VGA out port because it's an analog component. It's not secure in any way. So
yeah, and the Apple TV uses it.
HDMI. Yes, that's right.
Ugh.
I'm
all of that. None of that stuff is copy protect. I mean, it's copy protected using Apple's copy protection, not HDCP.
No, it's HDCP.
It is HDCP
out of the Apple. Yeah. Every time so it turns out, and if you don't have the high-speed cables on the Apple TV, you will
have to have an HDCP cable.
Well, you have to have a 1.4 HDMI 1.4, not a 1.3 cable, or you're going to get about half the time. It puts this big thing up that says HDCP. This is not compliant, which I look at it as a banner that says, if you had ripped this movie, you'd be watching it now. So, but that's every time I'm like, I'm trying to buy movies that I bought, and you are making me sit here. And it goes, point taken. So, so anyway,
or if you BitTorrented it,
you would be watching it.
You'd be watching it right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But instead, you're honest, which is such a foolish.
I know. I feel misguided often. So that's all I have to say. I mean,
so we don't. So speculation on the camera resolution. It sounds like you guys all agree it probably is the iPod Touch camera.
Well, and the thing to remember is that 960 by 720 is what like the Panasonic. A lot of the Panasonic HD cameras, like the HD X200,
they're upscaled.
That's what they all are. I mean, so it's not that it's not a real.
Well, there's an industry standard lie, basically.
Exactly. So they're taking
it's 720p, but not really.
But that's why they all that's why they look soft,
right? Because they have to upscale it.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But it sounds
what
like
it's really doing is it's knowing non-square. So
so
it's capturing 960 by. It's basically a non-square. Right. So what it's doing is capturing a 4:3 and then popping it back out to 1280. So it's just stretching it out.
That's interesting.
That's how
they do that. But again, you'll get the same basic 30 frames basic quality on the iPad 2 that you would get on one of those cameras. So that's pretty good.
I mean, I think that the front-facing camera is going to be the one that a lot of people are using a lot. I have to admit that I kind of broke through that ceiling of getting everybody that I know or getting more people that I know to have FaceTime, and I'm using it a lot.
Oh, interesting.
I use it. I was with my kids and I got my dad. He could figure out how he could use the FaceTime on his iPhone.
I think I might use it more on the new MacBook Pro.
Yeah,
because of that HD quality.
Right.
That might be kind of cool.
It's really when you get used to it and once it's in there that you've already made the connection with someone. And all you have to do is hit FaceTime. And you hit FaceTime, and it's
well, now
really
Skype's
great.
talking about putting ads into Skype, so that might be another reason to not to use FaceTime.
Yeah, they're going to put ads into Skype. I think I missed that memo.
It's not a memo yet, but it's a rumor floating around today. Actually, that Skype's going to start looking at that anyway. Let's see. Do you think the processor is an dual A8 or A9, or do we care? Is it really a post-PC era? or
I think that for the general population, it's post-PC.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's
funny though that Apple will quote speeds and feeds, but they won't tell you how much RAM's in the thing. I mean, it's like whenever it's beneficial to us, we'll quote speeds and feeds.
But they're not. They're only saying speeds in terms of in terms that are actually functional. Saying we believe that it is twice as fast as the previous one. So if there's anything that was a little bit slow on the iPad, we think it's going to be faster than it is right now. If they tell you how much application RAM is it, you know that there are people who will just simply look at a bullet point chart, say, "Oh, well, look, the Samsung Galaxy Tab has 513 kilobytes of application memory. The iPad 2 only has 512. Okay, I guess I made my decision now. That's a higher number."
Right. And I agree with Apple to some degree. I mean, I think that there was a lot of BS that went off on that launch. You know, there was a lot of stuff spread around. But I do agree that it is much more about functionality than features. I mean, I think that's in this next generation of these tablets, you really have to focus on functionality and not on the speed of every little thing, because that's not what creates that seamless experience that has you want to carry it around all the time.
Yeah, I mean, the iPad 2 does not have widgets. The Android tablets do. So again, you get a little bullet in that part of the bullet point chart. But does that mean that an Android tablet is better than the iPad? No, it doesn't.
People are saying, "Oh, you can't have a dual-core A8." Well, of course you can. You just put two A8s in a chip. There's no. It's just.
I thought it was A5. I thought it was a dual A5.
Yeah. Okay, Apple call. Okay. It is an A5. That's what Apple calls it. But it's we believe, I think some believe, it's an ARM specification. And the question is whether it uses the ARM 8 or the ARM 9. The ARM 9 is a true dual-core as used in the Tegra.
Okay.
But some are saying now, maybe that, and you know why it may be relevant? It may also be relevant to the iPhone, because whatever they've done in the iPad, that A5, whatever that is in that A5 chip will almost certainly be in the next iPhone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Apple's making their own chip, though. They're not buying somebody else's chip. They're using the ARM design.
Well, that saves them a lot of money.
We think they're using the ARM design. We don't know what the graphics is. Yeah. I don't know.
God bless iFixit.com. That's when all the answers.
I know. I love that. When they tear it down.
It's almost sometimes do you think that there should be like a voluntary like $5 tax on every Apple product more than let's say $299, and that a panel of 50 people decide that, you know what, iFixit gets 50 cents of the of the voluntary tax because the contributions that they do just to the community of giving this free service, that everybody on the planet is saying, well, we won't know until iFixit tears it apart. Let's just wait.
Although we still may not know, because isn't it labeled A5, and I mean. You can't look inside.
I say tear it apart.
Their resources keep expanding with each teardown. I'm sure that if they needed to know that answer, I'm sure that they would know what lab to send the They would take a buzzsaw, saw out that component. They would know who to send it to then cleave it apart and put it under a scanning electron microscope to look to see what notices and are actually engraved into it 4 microns wide.
True.
I think most people would just be happy to know how much RAM's in there, because people were going crazy on launch day, about how much RAM's in it, how much RAM's in it.
Well, does it matter? I mean, there's only...
Exactly, yeah.
There's only 256 in the current iPad. There's 512 in the current iPhone.
Yeah, I would guess.
Well, the developers are interested.
Developers need to know.
But, it's for us. I mean, I was amazed that there was only 256 meg in the iPad 1. But again, it worked. It's great. It performs well. So, I sort of trust Apple to put as much RAM as is needed for the next 12 months to cope with developments that couldn't process what people are going to plan to do with the iPad. So we'll see when iFixit get their hands on it.
And you think that part of it might be just a question of we can't give the iPad 2 so much more extra application memory that there'll be a huge difference in usability between the new one and the old one. I think that there's still they understand that one of the biggest advantages of iOS is that if you buy one version of this app, it'll be okay for everybody who has an iPad, as opposed to saying, well, unfortunately, you have the September version of this hardware. This really runs best in the February version of this hardware. It's just it's tuned for a faster processor.
All right, let's we'll get one more rumor out of the way, and then we'll change the subject. I want to talk a little bit about the new Mac laptops too, but. What do you think of the rumor that I know I'll go to Andy first because I know he'll debunk this, of the rumor that Apple might have an iPad 3 this year?
I thought that was a long shot to begin with because it would be unprecedented for them to release a product like that in the fall. The fact that they so pointedly last week referred to 2011 as the year of the iPad 2 kind of implies that the iPad 3 is not something that they're really planning on.
That's probably even the point of saying that, right? Is that this is iPad 2 for this year.
They would if they release an iPad 3 at the end of the year at this point, it's not that they couldn't do that and simply say, well, it's still the iPad 2 was out for 9 months. The iPad 3 will be only out for 6 weeks. So yes, it's still the year of the iPad 2. But at this point, I'd be really, really surprised if we saw an iPad 3 this year.
Do you think that April and now March is the ideal time to release an iPad? Doesn't that kill fourth quarter sales a little bit? I mean, maybe not.
Not really, because there's still, remember that they I don't know whether the idea of the iPad as a post-PC computer is something that occurred to them recently or whether that was part of the strategy all along.
It's what we've been saying from day one, right?
Exactly. And one of the things that I've always felt about the incorrectness of releasing an iPad 3, whatever, for the holiday buying season is that I don't think that they're looking to sell $500 to $800 devices as Christmas gifts. Right. I think they're looking to sell them to people who are going to school, which means not only that, but they're looking to sell them to people who buy 500 of these for the school system for the upcoming school year.
So this is the ideal time.
So seeing that light, this is the perfect time to do it.
Yeah. Interesting. You're probably right. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's clear that when Apple first released the iPad, they had no idea. I mean,
think so too.
It's like we don't know who's going to buy this or why.
Well, I think that they've kind of gotten into a pattern where you're going to see an iPad in the spring, you're going to see an iPhone in the summer.
Well, they'd like to keep that pattern of yearly releases, but maybe now's the time to bite the bullet and say, if you think that September is the best time to put a new iPad out, bite the bullet 1 year and just adjust it, and then you can have an iPhone in June, an iPad in September. But maybe not. I think
they'd be more likely.
They don't need to.
I think they'd be more likely to wait an extra 6 months than bring it up, because I think that does kind of burn people. Like if 6 months later you're releasing another one that's upgraded.
Well, that's right. It would be a hit. There's no question it'd take a hit.
People would be bummed.
People would be mad. Mm-hmm. They did the right thing with the $100 credit for iPad 1 buyers. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I mean, I suppose it all depends on the strategy for how they move the iPad forward, whether or not it's still always going to be a single device every year, or whether or not they're going to start to differentiate and expand it into a range of iPads.
So maybe they do a 7-inch or something.
Well, I don't know. I think the 7-inch is probably not, because of the stance they've taken on it.
Steve's been pretty clear he doesn't believe in 7 inches.
Yeah, he's been clear he doesn't believe in a lot of things, though.
Right. He didn't believe in video on the iPod, did he, and stuff like that. But it's whether or not if they want to keep it as a sort of a single product, or whether or not they want to split it into a pro level product. And I mean, if it's the post PC thing, then they'll. And we're not talking the next year, but over the next 5 or 10 years, and they start to move into the touch computers, whether or not it takes the same route as the MacBooks, the MacBook Pro, the MacBook Air, the MacBook itself. Will we have different iPads?
So it's not an iPad; it's a Touch. You just say it's an iPad Touch.
Yeah, like an iPad Touch,
because the iPods come out in September. Maybe that's it. I guess it doesn't really matter.
It's completely unsubstantiated, though. I mean, even the original rumor was never, it came from nowhere. So
it actually does matter in the sense that we have people who are saying, well, should I buy an iPad 2, or is there a chance there'll be an iPad 3 6 months from now? And so I think this panel is saying there's very little chance that they will do that.
Yeah, I think there's a very high chance that they'll release a new iPhone. So for those of you buying Verizon phones right now, you're a little nuts. So, I think that's highly likely.
The rebate is what is the rebate deal? Do you have to have bought it at an Apple store within the last month? Is that the deal? Well, we'll look that up. We don't know. Right. Somebody's asking in the chat room. I don't know. Consult your local Apple expert. If you bought one in the last few weeks, I think you're good. I don't think you'd have to buy it at the Apple store. That would be silly.
Right. Yeah, I don't think so.
Foolish. Let's take a break. Andy Ihnatko is here from the Chicago Sun-Times, and his little puppy. I don't know.
A distraction. How you doing?
His puppy, I have no idea. Also with us, Mr. Don McAllister from the UK, who will fly to New York tomorrow.
No, Thursday. Yes, it'll be tomorrow when it goes out. Right?
Just to get an iPad 2.
2 iPad
That's an
2s.
expensive.
2.
Oh, okay.
Two. You don't even know that you can get an iPad 2. 2 iPad
Yeah,
2s.
that's right.
You're
So-
taking
You
a
got to
huge
find a
chance,
friend,
dude.
You just got to find a friend in New York.
Yeah. Or someone who's going to be early in the queue. If I can just, as we say over here, bunk in. That might be the way.
There's that guy in Dallas. You might just fly to Dallas. He's got a tent.
No.
It looks like it's a tent. 2 people could sleep in. You and him.
That would be so weird.
knock. Can I come in?
It's too bad you can't use GoToMeeting to buy iPads. That would be nice. Then you could just go to meeting over the pond. That's what GoToMeeting is great for. Is eliminating that business travel from the picture. I know we all feel like in-person meetings are important, but a lot of times we're in this conference calls, whether it's across the room, across town, across the country, even over the pond, as they say. And when you're having those conference calls, don't you wish you could show something? There's always the spreadsheet, the picture, the chart, the graph, the PowerPoint, the most recent Onion video. There's something that you'd like to share. And it's frustrating to be on the phone and saying, well, if you could only see this. That's where GoToMeeting is so great. A picture is worth 1,000 words. A meeting goes on longer when you have to describe everything. It's also less engaging. So your next online meeting, try GoToMeeting. In fact, you could try it for free. GoToMeeting.com/MacBreak. Again, please use MacBreak if you can. Remember, MacBreak. GoToMeeting.com/MacBreak. And try it free for 30 days. 30 days of unlimited online meetings. It includes free teleconferencing and voice over the internet teleconferencing for sales presentations, product demos, training sessions, collaborating on documents. There's nothing like GoToMeeting.
What's great is it's so it's really idiot-proof. That's the big thing. You set everybody up, and then they get little emails, and then they get little reminders, and then they get another reminder, and so you don't have that whole I couldn't find the link or you sent it to me 3 weeks ago or whatever, and then you just click on it and you say that app's okay, and boom, you're in. It's great.
We even fired up the other day, just fired up GoToMeeting, even though we didn't have anything to show, in case something came up, and we just used the teleconferencing.
Yeah.
It's great. GoToMeeting.com/MacBreak. Try it free for 30 days. It's easy to install Mac or Windows, completely cross-platform, totally secure 128-bit SSL, so you don't have to worry about any exploits. It is just fantastic stuff. GoToMeeting.com/MacBreak. We thank them so much. The folks at Citrix have been so supportive. Actually, when we're out at South by Southwest, we're going this weekend. I'm going to get Michael Guarneri, who's out there from Citrix, to show us. There's been a GoToMeeting iPad for a while. Now they've GoToMyPC iPad, which is so cool. Yeah, so cool. So we'll get a look. We'll kind of get a first look at that. GoToMeeting.com/MacBreak. Let me tell you a little bit about South by Southwest. In fact, let me check right now to see. We've got John Slanina is driving the van to Austin.
That's a long drive.
He left yesterday. Well, let's just check on Glympse. He's going 73 miles an hour. John, slow down. John.
Hey.
There he is.
It's a long way if you're going to get going.
Look at that. Isn't
you
that
got to
cool?
get going.
This is have you seen Glympse, GLYMPS?
Really
I
cool.
love it. Scoble was the first to show it to me. You put it on your I have it on my phone, and if you're on the way somewhere, you send him a text message that says, here's my live map. At this speed, he did slow down. Look, he's now 68. Nope, back up to 71.
He's not listening.
I don't even know where he is. I should figure out.
Can you zoom out?
Yeah. Should I zoom out?
Arizona.
He's in Arizona. He's riding down the road, trying to loosen his load.
Is he just going just south of Sedona?
He's got a couple women on my mind. 2 that want to own me, 1 that wants to stone me, 1 that says she's a friend of mine. He's just a couple hours out of Phoenix.
Looks like he's just south of Sedona.
Yeah. Lake Havasu City, baby. That's great. I love it. John, it's so fun that we can follow you. So when he gets there, he's going to go straight to Momo's. We're doing the show live Sunday. We'll be there actually all day, Saturday and Sunday. We'll be broadcasting. In fact, our broadcast begins Friday evening. Brian Brushwood will be at the, is he going to, he'll go to the Barton Creek?
Nope, he's going to go to the Domain.
He's going to the Domain Austin store. It's the more fun. It's outdoors. That's where it's at. And Brian's an Austiner, so he knows. So he's going to be broadcasting. What time are we going to start our live coverage?
Probably Pacific time, 2:45.
2:45 Pacific, 5:45 Eastern. God, I hope there's a line there. We did the Verizon phone launch. That was just so pathetic.
See that's why
there was just nobody there.
Comes back to that's why it makes more sense.
Oh, there's Frosty the Wonder Dog. I'm glad to see that you have an ear tag, so if he gets lost, they do have smaller chips nowadays, but your mic is... Frosty sat on the mute button, I think. Meanwhile,
back at the ranch.
Did you put your mute button? Did you put your mute button?
Oh, Lord. So...
Sit down.
Oh, he does that trick. It's really cool if you could see it. Unfortunately, it's just off camera where he lifts the biscuit off his nose.
He'll sit there with it balanced on his nose until I tell him.
For hours.
He's such a good boy.
And then you say, okay, and he just goes... snarfs it right up. Such a well-trained...
Buster, such a good boy.
Buster, is that his name? It keeps changing.
His job title is Distracto, the Wonder Dog.
El Distracto, the Wonder Dog.
At least that's how I claim him when I use his salary to siphon to hide some of the money that I've been making off of the poker sites. Anyway,
pay no attention to that man. We also want to thank Get Glue for making a really cool South by Southwest sticker for us. So if you use Get Glue, you have to earn the South by Southwest Twit sticker. And if you come to Momo's, we'll be broadcasting live. I'll be doing the radio show at 1, TNT at 4, Twit at 5, and a meetup at 6 or 7 as soon as Twit is over at Momo's. It's a club in Austin. We will be handing. We've printed 1,000 of these limited edition stickers. There's only 1,000 of them. Twit at South by Southwest. What we're going to do from now on at our live events is have special stickers.
You need patches.
And you have to collect all 12.
You need patches.
You could put a patch is okay, but then this sticker you could put on your laptop.
And then people could have
on their
jackets,
clothes.
And then they could be putting on.
All right, we'll do patches and stickers next time.
It's all about the patch.
Yeah, you should get the Get Glue sticker and the South by Twit sticker. So collect all 12.
If you want the sticker, you got to buy a flight.
I think yeah, that's right. You got to go. Well, there's a lot of people at South by. And then we're going to cover the parties. Tom Merritt, Sarah Lane, Lisa Bettany, and I will be going to the parties, covering the parties. We're going to be at Lisa and I will be at the Dignation party.
Are you gonna do it again? Are you gonna?
I don't know. I think it would be kind of anticlimactic for me to crowd surf. Maybe Lisa will do it instead.
That would be.
That's a nasty.
You just quadrupled attendance at that function.
Yeah, exactly. What am I building their audience for?
Yeah.
Dear Twitter, I touched a girl for real at South by Southwest.
We're going to have a lot of fun. South by is so much fun. It's really interesting. In fact, I spent a little bit of time this morning collecting all the group messaging clients that are out there. There's more than a dozen out there now. I'm liking Fast Society. I'll talk about it. It's going to be my pick. So this is the hot. Beluga just got sold to Facebook. What are you laughing at?
I just heard this long discussion about Grindr or whatever. I was like, you don't like Grindr?
What's Grindr?
No, it's bad. It's
Grindr? No, I don't want Grindr. I have. Yeah, no. I know what. I'm just from the name. I'm thinking I know what Grindr is. I may be wrong, but I'm just thinking. I don't want Grindr. All right. Maybe I do want Grindr.
No.
Maybe you don't know me as well as you think you know me.
Just look at the chat.
Oh, I don't want Grindr. Okay, never mind. You do know me well enough.
Yeah.
No, I didn't realize. Okay, I didn't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. Let's get back to the Mac news. What do you say? Sure. So here's the details on the $100 refunds. I have done my research. Well, at least I went to MacRumors.com and I checked what
they did the research.
They did the research for me. Apple. This is in the UK, but I think it's the same in the US. In the UK, they'll refund the £100 price difference if you are within the 14-day return window. You only have 2 weeks. So you've had to have bought it basically in March and a few days of February. In other words, it's a standard Apple sales policy. If Apple reduces the price on any shipped product within 14 calendar days of shipment, you can request a refund. This isn't exactly a reduced price. Oh, they did reduce the price. They reduced it $100. Mm-hmm. That's right. So that's what it's coming from. You could now buy an iPad. So let's ask that question. Should you buy the iPad 1 for $100 less? Or should you buy the iPad 2?
I think it's a good entry level machine, and if someone has they've not specifically been waiting for the iPad until the cameras were out, and they just wanted a good tablet device, yeah, sure, I'd heartily recommend it to anybody who didn't really need the camera.
I guess you could also look on Craigslist and places like that. I bet there'll be some in Gazelle and
I think
stuff.
you're really going to want those cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the cameras are that's the biggest thing to me for the iPad 2 is, being able to interact with folks. I think it'd be very hard for only $100 difference. I don't know if I would do it.
Andy, what would you do?
I'm not sure. I'm with Alex. The idea of if you're in for $3.99, you may as well be in for $4.99 and have the ability to do video chat with other people.
I'm going to let you say that because I said exactly that, and somebody's twittered, Leo is so out of touch with real people. $100 is money, lots of it.
But you're already
spending $300.
You're already down $3.99. It's not like you're spending $100 from scratch. So
let me put this in perspective. I was for the past 3 months, I was like 95% sure that I was going to be replacing my pocket camera, which is about a 2.5-year-old pocket camera at this point, with one of 3 or 4 different models. And the money was all set. It was ready to go. All I had to do was decide between 2 specific different models. And I was certain that by now I'd have made the decision to buy. And then the final thing that really made me decide to wait another year was realizing that the imaging chips on both of these cameras that I like are 2.5 years old. Oh. And for that reason, maybe I would like to wait. And even if I have to wait a year for this type of camera with a brand new imaging chip, I should wait and get that. For that same reason, it's not just the idea that you're getting a camera for $100. It's that you're not getting last year's processor. Right. You're getting this year's processor, which will buy you a whole extra year probably of useful life out of this thing. So for that's definitely worth an extra $100.
Good rational thinking. You like that Nikon P7000 a lot.
I really love it. It's not to get into too big a distraction, but really another factor in the decision was that the camera that I love hasn't really been made yet. What I want a Micro Four Thirds big image sensor. I want the dial controls of the P7000, which has a 1.6 image sensor, like a pocket camera image sensor, and I want something with a pop-up variable flash. And I could get maybe about 3 out of 4 of those things. I couldn't get 4 out of 4. And I realized that at this point, you're just I already have a 4/3, the original Olympus 4/3 camera from a year and a half ago, right? That someone gave me as a gift. And I realized that, okay, maybe it's not, with all the strife and unrest in this world, it is not a burden for me to use an old camera for another year.
I mean, yeah, because these old cameras are pretty damn good.
But I do.
Does Nikon
love
make a Micro Four Thirds camera?
No, they don't. Right now, it's still just Olympus and Panasonic, although a couple of different lens manufacturers are now getting into at least the lens end of it. Right. But yeah, I do love that P7000. I think that if you're looking for a pocket camera and you don't necessarily need, you don't feel as though you need a large image sensor, then for if you do the kind of shooting that I do, I just love the idea of every function that I need, one click away. I don't have to use a touch screen to get at it. I don't have to dive through 4 different layers of menus to get at it. It's a really sweet little camera. It's very, very sweet camera.
Sweet camera. By the way, we do have a new photo show, mostly photo with Lisa Bettany, and we are still kind of workshopping it. But we're going to have a regular time slot for it when we get back from Austin. We'll settle that, and love to have you on it, Andy, because I love your love
to be on it. My pick is photo related this week.
Ah, good. We will get to that in just a moment or two. A couple more. We could do a speed round of the remaining Apple. And by the way, as long as I'm plugging shows, iPad Today, we're going to be doing that in Austin as well. But I don't think we're going to live stream the taping. Sarah and I are going to tape it in Austin, but then put it out the following week. iPad Today is normally on Thursdays, and I think we do have one this Thursday coming up at 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 Eastern at live.twit.tv. Let's see. So iOS 4.3. Okay, now they're saying tomorrow. Andy, have you anybody play? I'm not going to single you out, Andy. Anybody played with iOS 4.3?
Where's my dog? Hang on a second. Let me just...
Both of yous, huh? Well, I mean, you can't. I mean, I could do it too because I'm a developer. I signed up for the developer thing, so I could. But then I couldn't talk about it, so I couldn't do it.
The thing is that there are things that are public anyway.
Right. We know a lot about
it. I'm a developer now for $99. It's not as though it's a great thing, but I'd still respect the NDA. The things that have been announced publicly already, and in fact, I'm one of the shows I'm doing a show this week. I think it's a very significant development is the ability now with AirPlay to stream from your Mac to your iOS device.
Yes.
So
including your iPad.
Yeah, iPad, iPhone, and iPod Touch. So that's sort of given me the push now to think, right, well, okay, I've gone so long now with having my iTunes library and then this other sort of mash of media stuff that's in all different formats and everything. I said, right, that's it. Now I'm just going to go and put everything into my iTunes library. And then, it's going to be a little bit onerous to get there. But once it's there, it will be so much easier to move media around, to watch media wirelessly. And I think that's going to be quite a significant change for people.
So what does that look like? I'm trying to... so does that mean I have to have an Apple TV to do that?
No. It can be... your Mac with 10.2, which is the new version of iTunes, that's got it built in.
That came out this week. Everybody should.
That's out already. Yeah. So all you do really is on your iOS device is go into the settings and put in your home sharing account details, and then immediately sharing is enabled, and you can see from your remote device all your different iTunes libraries that are already set up for home sharing, and then you basically just see your iTunes catalog from your device and just tap play and it starts playing. Honestly.
That's going to be sweet.
Yeah, I have a Mac Mini hooked up to a Drobo that has every movie, every song, all the podcasts, everything's all in one place now, and it's just
how many terabytes?
I don't even know. I mean, it's just like the Drobo is about 7 terabytes, and it's got other things on it, but it's almost full. Yeah, so it's but it's a lot of data there. But what's and I've been mostly using it for the Apple, just for the 2 Apple TVs that we have. But I'm being able to just do it on any of the devices makes a big difference.
It should all round trip. It should all just go everywhere from anywhere. Yeah. I would think that'd be the.
Eventually, you want to be able to do it from anywhere where you are.
To anywhere.
Anywhere. Not even.
Well, if you have a Slingbox, you can do that now.
Right.
And then the question is whether the Windows and open source iTunes server programs will be updated. Right. To support this feature as well, because then you could do it on anything. I presume that if you have 10.2 on Windows, you could do it. Does anybody know? Don, is that the case?
I'm not too sure. Not too sure about that.
Chat room, if you know, that would be of interest. I presume that Apple intends to do that, but maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
I'm going to retire my Mac Mini from the TV now. I've sort of decided I'm going to pull that out and just rely on the Apple TV once I've re-encoded all my media and it's iTunes compatible.
I think so.
The Apple TV is so the first Apple TV I bought, and it mostly just sat on the shelf. I barely used it at all.
I loved it, but it just couldn't. It was laboring.
And I use the Apple TV 2 every day.
Yeah.
It's like it's just really part. And I switch between Netflix, and then I go to. And then I switch over to my media server, and then it's just, and my wife's favorite feature is just playing pictures of the kids on the TV.
Isn't that great?
It's a great addition.
And
that's before they open it up to the fabled apps,
right?
Yes.
Now that's
going to be huge.
Does 4.3 get us closer to that? I guess if you had an HDMI connector on your new iPad 2 and you connect it to the TV, and I think that's probably why they have a power connector too. So you buy an extra iPad 2, connect it to your TV, and it's mirroring.
But it's not going to use your whole 16:9 screen. It's mirroring the iPad. So
4:3, but you could play Angry Birds on your big screen TV, couldn't you?
You could, and I think that'll let people play with it. I definitely think that by the end of this year, I think Apple's going to start letting us.
It's a little
have
backdoor into that.
Yeah.
Would you use Air? How can you?
Don't forget that you wouldn't need the HDMI, would you? Because you can AirPlay directly from your iOS device to your not directly to your TV.
Not all the video though.
To your Apple TV, yeah.
But not all the
they're talking about apps being able to the AirPlay framework and do.
Oh, so I can AirPlay the apps. I don't even need the HDMI connection. Then I have a controller. That's the issue for me is, well, how do I play Angry Birds? I need some Air Mouse or something.
No, you could use your iPad.
I'll just use my iPad because I don't need to have it hooked up next to the TV. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, hurry.
That's very good. That's really good. I'm impressed. Everybody recognize that? Apple has shipped, according to Apple Insider, over 1 million MacBook Airs in the first quarter. I don't know the numbers for the other laptops. That sounds like a very successful launch.
It's good. They're great.
Certainly better than the old Air.
They're great machines.
Pretty cool. Congratulations, Apple. And now they have these new MacBooks, which I'm sad to say I broke down.
You broke down. I haven't broken down yet. I'm holding out.
You know what I do? It's foolish of me, but I go to, and I put it in the cart, right? I pick what I want, and then I put it in the cart, and then I say, but I'm not going to press buy. But then it's very easy to impulsively just go to the cart and go, buy.
Yep.
What? Did I do that? What?
Well, now I'm stuck with it, so
I have to buy it.
Yeah. Oh, you don't want to hurt Amazon's feelings or Apple.com's feelings by taking back the sale.
Yeah. I mean, they've already started building it. I might as well just take it. Now, the reason we have a new employee, don't tell the new employee, but we have a new employee, and he, when somebody comes here, we give him a computer. I think that's kind of standard operating procedure. And he wanted a MacBook. He wanted an i7 MacBook. And I said, I happen to have an i7 MacBook. It's only 9 months old. Maybe if I don't tell him, I clean it up real good. It's got a 500 gig hard drive in it. So instead of buying him a new one, I gave him my old one. And then I bought the new one. But I did buy the SSD. I bought the 128 gig SSD because the Air has convinced me the SSD makes a big difference.
With Thunderbolt.
But can I use Thunderbolt for anything yet?
Not yet, but it's going to be huge for people like me. So for professional...
Well, I love the idea of a Thunderbolt gigabyte hard drive on there for my photos and stuff.
Well, and also being able to...
So then I don't mind 128 gigs because I got a Thunderbolt hard drive.
The crazy thing is that I'll be able to take this computer and hook a RAID to it and then hook a big camera to it and have it bringing the video into the computer and then out to the RAID, and it can all be done through this crazy little connector. I can be uncompressed footage out of an F-23 or F-35. It's going to be huge.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
When has anybody seen any Thunderbolt peripherals promised? Or
I bet we will.
Go ahead, Andy.
I got one press release about a device, a drive that's going to be coming out in June or July. So
okay,
that's the only thing I've even seen.
You know what put me over the top is this Engadget review Neely Patel did, where he says the fastest computer I've ever seen. He said, "Oh my God, it's so fast." And he's not a particularly Apple fanboy kind of guy, I don't think. But he has the review, and they were just blown away by the overall speed. I did get the 1680 by 1050 display. I got a glossy. I like glossy. But I was looking at their benchmarks, and they are kind of remarkable. But it's really interesting that the MacBook Air, which really on the numbers is very kind of pathetic, doesn't feel that slow. I mean, it's less than half the speed of the OpenGL performance on the MacBook Pro Radeon. It's about a third the speed on Geekbench overall performance, and yet it doesn't feel that slow.
Yeah, it really does underscore the fact that your computer spends most of its time waiting for you to click a button.
Yes.
And for so many people who, I think 80% to 90% of the people don't even need the performance of an i5 or an i7 and can get along perfectly fine with a MacBook Air. In terms of CPU speed,
I actually love
whether or not they can live in a 64 gig or 128 gig footprint is another question entirely. But speed wise, it's hard to find a complaint.
And I think we'll probably see when we're at NEB, we'll probably see a bunch of announcements related to Thunderbolt, because that's where the first real investments are going to be. Broadcasters who need that. They've been, for instance, a company like Blackmagic has been doing tons of USB 3 peripherals that all of us on the Mac side are drooling over, and we can't use them. I don't know if they're going to announce something at NAB, but it's going to. I can't imagine them not taking those peripherals and adding Thunderbolt pretty quickly.
Somebody in the chat room saying LaCie. EJZ is saying LaCie is making external hard drives with Thunderbolt.
Well, the issue you're going to get into there is just the speed of the drive at that point.
Yeah, you're way faster than the drive. You need a 5. You need.
I mean, the reality is most of these drives aren't fast enough for the FireWire 800.
Yeah,
they're doing 40, 50 megabytes a second when the 800 is able to hand them that data at 100 megabytes a second.
So what are you going to use, like a RAID array? Or?
We already use RAID arrays, even portably. We got these little G RAIDs and other stuff that we use for on-site stuff. But being able to attach it to a real RAID and have 300 megabytes a second or whatever is a pretty to a laptop without a express card. That's the other thing, is that we've been able to do this. We've been able to connect these fast peripherals, but only through the express card. You know, which means we had to buy I have two 17-inch computers. That the only reason that they're 17-inch and not 15 inches because of the express card.
This is what I want. I don't even know what this is going to cost. LaCie makes something called the Little Big Disc.
Yeah, that's the one.
And it's solid state.
Oh.
RAID 0, pre-striped, solid state. RAID I can't 0. Even imagine what this is.
So it's 2 drives?
500 gigs.
It's got two 250s in it. Must have.
They say
700 megabytes a second.
Megabytes a second.
That's, that's
daisy
okay.
chain between the computer and the monitor, because of course it's coming off your mini display port. Oh. But how much is this going to cost? Oh, my.
And now we know why Leo always does the show while sitting on an easily cleaned vinyl exercise.
Got to love the vinyl.
I need one of those.
It's got 2 Intel 510 solid state drives in a nice, pretty. LaCie makes pretty little enclosures.
Wow.
Yummy. Well, so there it is, and that's so. Andy, you say that'll be this summer.
The release I got said sometime this summer. Yeah.
Sometime.
Exactly. Well, it's hard to know how to. My review of the new MacBooks is coming either late this week or early next week. And
so you
it's
have
so
one
hard
in stock.
to know. I have one in the office right now. As a matter of fact, I'm planning on buying one a little bit later this year. But it's so hard to review it like Thunderbolt because it's
how do you
there's a
lightning
logo
bolt on the side
next to it. That's more exciting than a little TV. Apple told me some stuff that I can then tell to you.
How do you test it?
If I like lick my finger and try to jab it in there real good, it's kind of hurts. What else can I tell you about this wonderful new?
How's your review unit configured? Is it a spinning drive or a solid state drive?
Spinning drive, 500 gig. I believe it's the lesser of the.
It's the stock 540 RPM drive.
It's a stock 5400 15-inch, not the 2.2 gigahertz processor, but the lesser one.
What do you think? Sounds like you like it. You're going to buy it.
I like it a lot. Yeah, the boost in processing speed is so. The last year's MacBooks was faster than the previous generation. These are another couple of leaps forward. I will be honest and say that one of the reasons why I'm definitely getting it is because my current MacBook is now like 3 years old, so it's really near end of life anyway. But I'm very, very pleased that I'm getting something that has not only a real like 4 or 5 year processor behind it, but also the next generation of connectivity behind it. If I'd bought last year, I'd be pretty disappointed that I'd bought that I hadn't waited a year. I was. I mean, this i7 is 9 months old, and it was like, oh man. But this is kind of a future-proofed laptop if you're going to get one.
Yeah, you're definitely going to skip these ones down. I'm waiting for the next generation of MacBook Airs. I want my MacBook Air with Thunderbolt on. For goodness sake, a backlit keyboard, please, for the next MacBook Air.
Oh, I know. That's the one thing really missing that I really miss on
Unbelievably how much you miss it. Yeah. I'm really surprised about that.
Well, I think that the other thing is I feel like they have to put out Mac Pros and iMacs because it's just kind of like I don't want to buy anything without Thunderbolt built in. I mean, I don't want to invest in any more computers for our office until
you're right.
Until I got Thunderbolt connections.
Yeah, I just bought a Mac Pro too, and I'm feeling like, oh shoot.
Right.
Well, the desktops must need the Sandy Bridge updates whenever they're available. One would imagine.
Yeah, so. I don't have Sandy Bridge. No, I have oh crud. I thought I avoided this whole cycle by buying right when Apple came out with a new product, but apparently that's not even enough.
Well, we don't know. Maybe we won't see another Mac Pro until fall.
That's a good question.
I'm guessing June. WWDC.
Are the iMacs due for a refresh soon? Because it's.
I'd say so.
It's due for a refresh because I just bought 4 of them.
Right.
That's why it's due for a refresh.
Well, we need to find out when Leo buys one. And
yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm building a new studio at great expense. I might as well just throw in some more money and buy some new computers. Jeez Louise. Jeez Louise.
Well, I'm really curious to see what Apple does with the new iMacs. If either the next iMac or the one after that is going to be a radical redesign. We are not going to recognize it based on the iMac that's for sale right now. I'm absolutely convinced of that.
It's time.
Because Not only that, but they've taken the movement. There's so many interesting things that have been added to 10.7 based on the developer preview that makes little sense for the current iteration of iMacs. Plus, you have the fact that so many of the MacBook Pros are doing so much of the heavy lifting that before you could only get with an iMac. Apple needs to do something to distinguish the desktop consumer line from the mobile consumer line, and I think that you're not going to see screen, keyboard, mouse slot for a DVD drive. I think you're going to see something radically different. I don't know if it's going to be this year or next year, but either this next iteration or the one after that is going to be just the Willy Wonka version of the iMac.
Well, I mean, I think it's going to be a 46-inch TV. that has all the Mac capability, iOS capability. I mean, because the one big problem with the iMac is that you can't get reality TV shows on it. If I can't get The Bachelor on it, then I just don't want to be bothered with this computer.
It certainly would be consonant with the post-PC era that Apple has proclaimed. I mean, it's kind of getting hard to sell PCs in a post-PC era. Make it a TV, and then it's a post-PC.
I mean, Apple already has that figured out. I mean, they were not that far away with a 30-inch. I mean, they have the technologies figured out. They have the pieces figured out. And all they got to do is just make a larger screen, and I mean, and put a Visa mount on the back.
You believe the rumors that Apple is negotiating? This comes from Bloomberg. They say they have three, not one, not two, but three sources say Apple's negotiating flat fee, unlimited music downloads. Believable? Credible? Would the music industry treat with Apple, or would this give them too much power, or does the music industry even have a choice at this point?
This is a subscription service? Is that what
I'll read you what it says. I don't,
I couldn't when I looked at it.
Negotiating unlimited music downloads. This would be.
I thought what that was really referring to when I read it was that you are able to hook up as many computers as possible. Well, you could. I thought it was you could an unlimited number of computers attached to use the music that you already bought. So right now it's limited to 5, which made sense until you start having a family full of iPhones and iPads and computers and Apple TVs. You end up in the situation where 5 doesn't turn out to be very good.
I guess you're right. I think
that what they're looking
deal. It says the deal would provide iTunes customers with a permanent backup of music purchases if the originals are damaged or lost. That's La style kind of streaming. And then the service would also allow downloads to iPad, iPod, and iPhone devices linked to the same iTunes account. Well, you can do that right now, but it is limited to 5.
Right.
Actually, is it? No. On portable devices, there's no limit. It doesn't check.
Right.
So it's only on computer. You have to register each iTunes. You have 5 iTunes you can register.
Right.
But you can make it on 5 different iPhones or 20 different iPhones or 20 different iPads. So I don't know if that's...
But I thought it was they were looking for unlimited devices. So if you log in,
and nor is anybody at the music companies. An agreement about so-called re-download rights may be reached by mid-year, although it could be later. One of the people said Apple typically announces new. So this may be something for the fall. Yeah, I'm not sure I understand what it is. I was thinking, when I heard it, I thought, oh, great, subscription, but no.
No, I think
in effect it is, though, because if you buy a song, you could put it anywhere and presumably stream it if you've got it backed up to the internet.
Right. I mean, that would be a fee. That would be an upgrade. It's not subscription service.
Right. It's not a flat fee. I misread that. It is not a flat fee subscription service.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I mean, that would work into what we were talking about before about the AirPlay, being able to stream from your Mac to your iOS device. If you could actually stream that same music from the cloud to your portable device when you're out and about, that would be fantastic.
But, so I have whatever it is, 40 gigs of music. If they said, okay, now we know you have all this 40 gigs of music, and now it's yours to stream to any device you want anywhere, that's practically a subscription. I mean, you have to buy individual songs.
You still have to buy the songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always wondered what the licensing was like about that. What would be involved for Apple to be able to host a service like that? And I can't even imagine what lawyers have to get naked with what other people in order to convince the music industry that, no, if we do this, it doesn't mean that there's going to be... I know that right now there's no piracy of music of any kind, but I'm not saying that that if we were to stream music, that it would suddenly create piracy in the industry. That would not happen.
Forfend.
I think that one of the big problems is that the entertainment industry in general just is not coming to grips with how bad the sickness is.
Right.
And so they, you look at what they're trying to hem and haw over Netflix. They want to make sure that Netflix doesn't get the best movies and everything else because they're afraid that Netflix will become the next Apple. And if Apple gets subscription service, they won't leave anything but stubble. I mean, like literally, it would be. I mean, that would be, Apple having that. They have such a large market already. no one would be able to compete with them. And then they know what Apple would do if it had leverage, because it proves what it does when it has leverage is that it uses that leverage.
Right.
And so so I think that that's one of the big issues for them, giving them that piece. But I think that they think that somehow they're going to get back to the good old days when it was the way they were able to sell individual items for 10 times what it was worth. Yeah. And it's not going to happen.
The classic question for any of these content producers is the same question that app developers are now facing. You can, in this world, if you want to build a mobile app or a tablet app or a phone app, you can either have leverage or you can actually make money. And so Apple will take all the leverage away from you, but it's the one marketplace where all the gold is lying on the street. And if you want to bend down and pick it up, you've got to bend down first.
It's kind of the same argument we've been having about apps and about everything else. Apple pretty much dominates the whole chain.
Well, but I think, again, I think that comes from a clear understanding of functionality over features, and that's what people are.
Yep.
That's what they seem to know better than everybody else.
All right, we're going to take a break. Come back with your picks. So gentlemen, start your picking in just a moment. But first, a reminder that if you are ready for your web page, or you have a friend who doesn't have a web page yet, golly, you really ought to. Having your own place on the net is so important. Sure, you can have that Facebook page and everything, but you've got to have your own place on the net. And that's where Squarespace, whoops, let me pull up that picture of Squarespace here. It does such a great job. Squarespace.com/MacBreak. You can try it right now. So easy to set up. Just click this green button. Try it for free. No credit card required. You just set up your site. Look at the examples to see what people have done, whether you're a blogger. It doesn't have to be a blog, though, or just you're selling something, or you're a restaurant. I know, Alex,
my sister just built one.
That's cool.
It's called
What's hers about?
familiarlight.squarespace.com.
What does she do?
She's probably the best photographer I know, actually. And I shouldn't say that on a big show, but she's talking about taking pictures of your kids. Taking pictures and basic ideas. So she's an incredible photographer. Mostly what she takes pictures of are her kids, but she'll show you this great thing. But then at the bottom, it'll give you the technical information about what it took.
How it's done.
So she's talking about, like here, she's talking about how to take pictures of.
That's a hard thing to do.
Yeah. So she's talking about how she does it.
Blowing out a candle on a birthday cake. Never get that picture right.
There's probably nobody that knows how to take pictures of kids, or especially her kids, than her.
Yeah, that's a great picture.
And
my God, that's fantastic.
But she threw this all together in Squarespace by herself, and she's not a techie. She's not a techie. She's a photographer.
Oh, she's a very good photographer.
As I said, she's the best photographer I know.
Holy moly, zoli! Oh, we got to get her on mostly.
You should definitely have her
taking
on.
pictures of kids. Deal.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So here's the deal. I mean, look how
she put it all together.
She just did it. And that's the thing. I mean, Squarespace makes it possible for you to set up your site so quickly. Look at the examples. You have great templates to start from. 60-plus designer templates. They've got an iPad and iPhone app. Makes it easy for you to not only post, but to moderate your comments. You can import and export to all the major blog APIs. So if you've got an existing site, it's simple to try Squarespace. 2 weeks free. Just go to squarespace.com/MacBreak and set that up. And if you decide you want it, hosting and all this great Squarespace software, just starting at $12 a month. Couldn't be easier to use, and it is so satisfying to have your own site. Squarespace.com/MacBreak. We thank Squarespace for their support of MacBreak Weekly. Andy Ihnatko, let's start with your pick of the week here.
I'm one of these people who really enjoys cameras and photography and taking fun and taking pictures and doing things with cameras I wasn't able to do before. And so I'm really, really shocked how much fun I'm having with the GoPro HD cameras that just got sent.
I see people wearing these all over the place.
Yeah, these are you've seen them in commercials and stuff, and they're being advertised pretty much everywhere. This is the one where you basically wear it on your head, and then you do a lot of throwing the goat gestures as you windsurf and do stuff like that. The upshot is that for depending on which model you get, anywhere from $99 for the standard definition version to like $300 for the high definition version, what you get is this tiny little camera in a dustproof, windproof, waterproof housing with a little box of different things you can mount it to. This is just like the base that it comes with it in the package. But inside, I'll take it out of the waterproof housing. It is this adorable little, just a basic camera with the best user interface ever. It's just got 2 buttons. It's got a shutter button at the top. It's got a power and a mode button at the front, and that's really exactly it. And it will shoot video. It will also shoot photos. Up to it'll shoot 5 megapixel photos in multiple modes. It has a time-lapse photo mode, for instance, so that you can just snap a picture the way you would with a regular camera, or you could just simply put it someplace and say, just put it on your helmet, put it on your wrist, put it on whatever, and say, just take a picture every 2 seconds, every 10 seconds, every 30 seconds until the memory card fills up, and it will take a card up to 32 gigabytes. So it's possible to just leave this thing on your wrist, go and explore a new city, and then come home. In addition to your real camera, you'll find out exactly what kind of pictures that you wound up taking with it.
The images on the GoPro website are just amazing. What people are taking, and the quality is good. This is 720p on the top of the line.
The quality is excellent, but one of the other really cool things about it is that this lens is a huge fisheye lens. It is something like 170 degrees. So one of the first things I did with it is I just put it on the dashboard of my car and just drove around a little bit just to shoot some video and just see how it worked. And it looks like I'm flying an airplane because all you see is like the sky through the windshield, and way like 4 miles back you see this guy and holding a little steering wheel in the deep background. So I could see so many circumstances where you can't get a good picture of the space that you're in with the current pocket camera you've got, but that's okay. Just take this out, take a snapshot with your 5 megapixel cool. super fisheye camera. And when you consider that now the $99 version of it is just standard definition, but it's still a 5 megapixel camera. So just on that basis alone, I would consider, as a photo nut myself, it's worth $99 to have this tiny little pocket camera that can do 2 or 3 hours for the time lapse on one battery and can shoot 178 degrees in one exposure. That's a lot of really cool stuff for $99. And the fact that it's in an underwater housing, so that if you wanted to, not just you might not think that, well, look, there's very few times when I jump out of an airplane and then land on a surfboard and do wakeboarding and that same thing. Yeah, but okay, how about the last time you took your kids to the beach and you didn't want to take out your camera because you were worried about sand, or you didn't want to, people were splashing around in a pool or something and you didn't take pictures there because you're worried about that. You're good. It's for $99. That's a place to put a camera where you would not even think about taking your existing $300, $400, or $500 camera.
It's pretty.
So
nice.
I'm having a hell of a lot of fun with it right now. I haven't even done my real real attempt to go shoot video that is going to accompany the review yet. For the past 2 days, I've actually just had on one of the railings on the porch, just putting a dish with peanut butter out, setting it for time lapse, and say, I want to get a super close up of squirrels and chipmunks going to the peanut butter. Unfortunately, the squirrels and the chipmunks are publicity shy.
They are. Yeah.
But I'm taking it to the public garden sometime in the next couple of weeks, and they're not shy over there. So I'm going to get some really good, almost 3D, feeding frenzy shots there. And to my point of view, any camera that gets you inspired to get out and take more pictures, particularly any camera that lets you take pictures in environments where you would not want to take a camera ordinarily, is a big win, because there's so many parts of your life you'd love to document it, but you just don't want to sacrifice a $400 camera to try to document it. And again, for anywhere from $99 to $299, that's not a whole lot of money to spend on that kind of a thing.
Very good. It's GoCam HD. If you Google GoCam, you can find it very quickly. They've got a great website, GoPro.com. I've seen it in use in a couple of different situations during MacMania 11. Didn't Wally Cherminsky have one of those?
That's right. Yeah, Wally took one, and he did some horse riding down the beach and strapped it to his chest.
He had it on his chest a lot. As we wandered Machu Picchu, he had it on his chest. Okay. So I can't wait to see his video,
See, that's what I absolutely love. They sent me a box with just about every mount that they have on it, and that's the thing that's another one of those things that really kind of got me inspired, because there are times when there are times when you just want to remember what it was like to be in a certain moment. And I am the guy who always has the camera out when I'm taking a walk, and you never know what you want to see. But the idea of just coming back to the hotel, just getting thumbnails of these 1,000 pictures that the camera took automatically and realized, oh my God, that's a perfect shot. That's exactly the shot that I could have gotten had I been thinking at that moment, but I didn't. So again, $99 for, well, for God's sakes. Again, the next time tell you what, the next time you take out a loan on a car, round it up to the nearest 100 and get yourself one of these cameras, or the next $300. I mean, really cool. Leo, you should be buying 5 of them, 10 of them, 100 of them, just so you remember what the exact note is for.
One of our camera guys, Brent By, when John C. Dvorak went to Madrid for the Ford Focus Global Challenge, Brent has a GoPro camera and attached it to the hood of the Focus as John was driving. So we have some amazing footage from the outside of the car of John, looking at John as he's driving, which you'll see when we get that video out.
I was going to say, I'm taking about an hour-long, 2-hour-long drive someplace in about 4 or 5 days, and I don't even need when I was driving back from breakfast this morning, I was sitting on my driveway looking at the front grille of my car saying, you know what, there's just enough space between the license plate and the radiator. I'll use gaffer tape, I'll put a couple twist ties just to be safe, but I'm going to shoot video of the entire 2-hour drive, and it'll be awesome, and I'll watch it once and I'll think it's awesome, and I'll never actually show it to anybody, but it'll be awesome.
But I'll have it.
Yes.
GoPro.com. And now it's time for Mr. Don McAllister to give us a pick.
I'm just wondering if I can get one of those cameras before I go to New York on Friday and do the live.
I would rush it. Yes, rush order.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my pick is an iPad pick. I'm not a designer. I'm not a particularly good drawer, but there's one that actually caught my eye, an application called InkPad by it's the guy who actually designed Brushes, which I think was one of the first iPad applications. And it's a vector illustration package. So you can actually create these vector diagrams, supports multi-layers, all sorts of Bezier curves and everything. But the thing that really fascinated me is just how well the touch interface works on such a complex application. Normally you think of these drawing applications as being very precise. You need a tablet pen to actually draw, or you need a mouse. But this is all done using the touch interface, and he's done it really well. There's some quite complex and quite advanced things in there. And it really irritates me when I hear of people, sort of going on about how the iPad is just for consumption and not for creation. Well, this is one of those applications that's just shouting out, create something in me, because it's a beautiful application.
Neat. InkPad. And it is.
InkPad, yeah, it's actually just been. I think it was only launched a couple of days ago, and it's currently on offer. I think it's $199 for a limited time, or I think it's £1.19. So it's going to go up.
£1 and almost a shilling. Or something. InkPad from Steve Sprang. Mr. Alex Lindsay, your pick of the week.
So sorry, I was busy buying InkPad. So anyway,
I've already bought both the camera and
I know
InkPad.
I'm ordering the camera afterwards. It was a little too much of a distraction at one time. So mine, this is something I saw at CES, and then they sent me some to test, and I've actually really gotten attached to them. So this is by ProClip. It's proclipusa.com. And what they do is, you want to attach your iPad or your iPhone to your car, but I don't want to screw anything in. I don't want to make it permanent. I don't want to stick anything or screw anything. I don't find that suction cups really work. And so what they do is they have this this little guy here. So that is a custom made for the CRV 2010, which is what I have. So you actually go into their little website and there's a little worksheet. You say, I have this kind of car and this year, and this is where I want to put it. And they literally, they give you this.
So this is fit to your dash.
It goes into the seams. You literally poke it into the seam and then pull it down, and it just pops and it just grabs onto the seam.
Oh, that's neat.
Doesn't do any. It's not permanent, but it's very tight. Like I put one into my CRV for my iPhone 4 right by the driver's seat, and then what it is modular. So that's just that is the anchor, and then you can buy different things. So this one, for instance, is for the iPhone 3 and 4, and what that little base there can be, you unscrew that little base that's in the bottom, and you screw that into you screw that into that one. But that could be an iPad holder, or it could be a whatever. So you put these bases in, and then you screw the different mounts onto it.
Fits an iPhone.
Right.
Yeah.
And that one's actually a little adjustable, so you can fit an iPhone 3 or an iPhone 4. Cool. I put the iPhone 4 in, and it's a really nifty little device that I put it in. I mean, I've been really wanting something that sits right next to my driver's side, so I can do my TomTom, and it's right where I want it. I'm not looking for it and reaching for it. And anyway, so that is my that's my hardware pick. The only other pick I have is that I do have a new game. I get Twitter questions. My new game is World of Goo, which I played on
Isn't
the PC.
It fun? Love World of Goo. Yeah, I played on the Mac.
On the Mac, I mean,
and
it works really. It works. It's more fun on the iPad than it was on the.
It's also in the App Store, so it's everywhere now.
Right.
App Store, OS 10.
Right, and if you haven't played World of Goo, it's just a great. It's great. So that's it.
Alex's picks. My pick, well, it came from some research I was doing this morning, trying to figure out what we're going to use when we go to South by Southwest to stay in touch with each other. And this is the hottest category out right now. There have been a couple out for a while. It's group messaging. WhatsApp's been around for a while, Text Plus. The idea initially of these was that you would use your 3G or Wi-Fi connection to bypass text messaging and just go directly. Which makes it a little faster and certainly cheaper. You don't have to buy any additional text plan. But now there's a whole ton of them. Beluga was just sold to Facebook, but it's still around. And all of these guys are tuning in. By the way, now you can connect with Facebook. What a surprise. They're all being tuned up for South by Southwest. Remember that Twitter launched in 2007 at South by Southwest, Foursquare in 2008. It's been a great place for people to use software of this kind and expose it. My pick right now, after trying all of them, GroupMe, Kik, Yobongo. Yobongo's kind of neat because you don't create a list of friends. It just says who's nearby using Yobongo. So you could say, hey, what's a great sandwich place around here? Haywire, WhatsApp, Text Plus. There's Voxer, which is an iPad as well as an iPhone app that allows you to kind of do a walkie-talkie thing. But I like this one, Fast Society. Oh, yes, I have an internet connection. Fast Society allows you to set up groups. It asks you right at the beginning, where's the party, man? So it's very party focused, but you make a team, and a team has a kind of lifespan. I've made this one Twit at South by Southwest for 7 days, but you can also make it forever if you should so choose. It allows you to send text, but also multimedia stuff. You can even send I don't know why it's not opening here. I was thinking. You can even send a message that says, here's where I am, with a map, just kind of like Glympse, what we were showing earlier. So this is, if you're going to South by Southwest or you're going to an event, this might be a great way to kind of stay in touch with a team. I've got all my team members on here. All of these will look up. You can use push, i.e., 3G or Wi-Fi, or text messaging if you wish. So it'll use either one. It's pretty interesting. This one is called Fast Society. All of these are being updated right now, as is Gowalla and Foursquare and all of these other location-based social media apps, because they're just this is the time of year when the apps come out to play. But I did like Fast Society. I thought that was it's as you can see here, it says built to party, and so they're really focusing on getting around to the parties. There it is. So you can see I have 6 days, 21 hours, and 49 minutes left. Sarah's on this. It is iOS only. I've made a list, and we're trying to figure out which one we use. It's kind of crazy,
Does it rotate? When you rotate it, does it give you a different?
Not as far as I know, although I may have rotation turned off. I kind of don't like things. No, it's not turned off. Don't like things to rotate. No, it doesn't rotate. It doesn't rotate at all. And it doesn't have an iPad version. But you know what? I'd love to hear if somebody's got a better choice. We haven't decided yet. We might use Beluga. The problem with Beluga, because Facebook has bought them, is who knows how much longer they're going to be around for.
Facebook?
No, Facebook will be around, but Facebook typically kills companies when they buy.
I think Facebook's a big flash in the pan.
It's not going anywhere. Now they've got those Facebook comments, and I have a feeling that basically everything's going to go through Facebook in the future.
Well, did you see you can now rent movies on Facebook?
And now they're doing Warner Brothers has announced you can get The Dark Knight.
That you can buy with Facebook points.
But But you can only play it on your computer, right?
I think so, yeah.
So maybe next Facebook's going to do a Facebook TV device, right?
Or just integrate it with the TVs that are already out there.
Who needs the internet? We've got Facebook.
Facebook and Apple.
Facebook is the internet, and Apple is hardware, and we're done. Tort, who's one of our photographer friends who joins us in the chat room all the time, he's a really good photographer, sent us this picture you might like, Andy. He took this with his Go camera, his HD Go, driving through a tunnel. He didn't move, but the car obviously was. Isn't that awesome?
Great.
I don't. $99. Why would you not want to take pictures like that for $99?
$99. All right, let's get the heck out of Dodge. Thank you for joining us. Thanks to our sponsors, Squarespace and Citrix with GoToMeeting, and our brand new sponsor. We're really glad to have Smile Software with us. And make sure you try PDF Pen. It's really awesome. And Alex Lindsay, thank you for being here.
Thank
It's
you.
great to have you back. Alex is at the Pixel Corps, pixelcorps.com for that great guild of multimedia artists learning and working together. And, of course, pixelcorps.tv for the great shows that they produce. And Border Sack is his blog.
That I sometimes update.
Alex starts a blog every 6 months, updates it for a while.
Yeah, exactly. And then
starts another one.
I haven't started a new one for a long time, so I'm
So
going to
this
stick
is the
with
one.
this one. Yeah.
We'll stick with this one. It's great to have you, Don McAllister, from across the pond. He's coming to New York. Get ready.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
look
And
for him
by the way,
online.
that 50% discount for MacBreak Weekly people is still on at Screencast Online. So just use the coupon code MacBreak Weekly.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you.
I'll leave it running anyway because I get a lot of interest from the viewers and the listeners, so that's cool.
We love Screencasts Online, so I'm really glad that we could do that. Screencasts Online, use the offer code MacBreakWeekly when you check out.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Don.
No problem.
And, of course, Mr. Andy Ihnatko, thank you for being here. I know you've got lots to do with that new iPad 2, so you just go on out and enjoy with your little doggy. No, we don't know what he's got. We don't know what he's got. But I have to say, I think about half of our chat room now has a GoPro camera. Well done. Well done. They have a photo of the day Facebook page, by the way, if you want to see that. Todd just sent me the link to that. Andy is at the Chicago Sun-Times. And, of course, his website is www.cwob.com. We'll look for that GoPro review soon. And your MacBook Pro reviews as well. Thanks for joining us, Andy. It's good to have you back home. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you next time. Now get back to work. Break time's over.